Welcome to TMZ Live. David is now officially charged with murder of Celeste Rivas, and he has appeared in court just minutes ago, and he has pled not guilty, and he is trying to do something that is generally not done. He's trying to force prosecutors' hand by demanding a preliminary hearing within 10 days, and if the DA doesn't have his ducks in a row, they're banking on a judge dismissing the case. But this comes after a very dramatic morning with the DA laying out the case.
Right. The DA certainly laid out, made it seem like they do have their ducks in a row before David's arraignment, which, by the way, this is the first time we got to actually see him in court, not in a prison jumpsuit, just wearing a black hoodie. But the DA, before that arraignment, said that we have enough evidence here that we believe not only did he murder Celeste, but we believe that he is eligible for the death penalty.
So he alleged
special circumstances.
He alleged special circumstances, and here is what the DA said in making that argument.
Special circumstances are lying in wait. That Celeste went to Mr. Burke's home on the night of April 23rd, 2025, as alleged in the complaint, at his invitation, and again, was not heard from again. The second is a special circumstance being that this murder was committed for financial gain. As the evidence will show in court, the financial gain was for Mr. Burke to maintain his very lucrative musical career that Celeste was threatening on that particular night.
Well, that's key, because what Nathan Hochman, the DA, is saying is that they believe that on April 23rd, 2025, David was facing a threat by Celeste to make their alleged relationship, sexual relationship, public.
Either make it public, or maybe she was threatening to go directly to police. But either way, he was afraid it was going to ruin his career, obviously. Right.
So what they're saying, the DA is saying, is that David basically lured Celeste to his home that night and killed her. And that he is saying that now that the medical examiner hasn't come out yet with the exact cause of death, but the DA is saying that he used a sharp object either to slash or stab her. So
that's the first time we've heard the cause of death.
And that's the lying in wait special circumstance that the DA is saying, that David was waiting for her to show up at the house and he would then kill her to prevent her from going public with their sexual relationship. By the way, he's also being charged with having a sexual relationship with a minor under the age of 14.
There's another special circumstance.
Yeah, I mean, they're basically laying out their theory of the case, the lying in wait and him blowing up sort of the nature of their relationship and so forth. The sharp instrument's going to be very interesting because we have this medical examiner's report. Obviously, the body was dismembered. That would also involve the use of a sharp instrument. So how the prosecutors plan on disambiguating the cause of death and how she was killed from how she was dismembered afterwards is going to be an interesting part of this case.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, to the dismemberment, they have a date for that.
Yes.
That they believe it happened on May 5th.
Now, this is really to me, the most stunning part of the revelations from the DA today, because the DA is saying that Celeste's body was dismembered, put in 2 trash bags, and that they stayed in David's Tesla from May until September when the body was found. Now, we told you, we broke a story actually, that David, according to authorities, took a mysterious trip to Santa Barbara last spring. In the middle of the night, spent a couple of hours there, and nobody could figure out what's going on. It seems to me now, what they're saying is that they are going to allege, I think, that he dismembered her there, put the body back in the Tesla, but kept it there. And now it raises a question. If the body is there from May, June, July, I mean, for more than 4 months in a trunk.
Now you understand why it took so long for the medical examiner to determine anything.
In a hot trunk, the state of decomposition over that number of months, this is the spring and the summer. So this body is in not sort of the shape that you can really determine what happens to a person very easily. And that's why early on we knew it was undetermined. Both the manner and the cause of death were undetermined by the medical examiner.
Not just undetermined, but the medical examiner, we have sources connected to the medical examiner who were saying they didn't know if they could ever determine an actual cause of death because of the state of the body. We didn't know that, according to the DA at least, that it had been in a trunk for 4 months. But if that's the case, it's going to be real interesting to get that medical examiner's report to know what it says and how they were able to go from we can't figure out how she died to it's a homicide and here's how she died.
Yeah, it may be undeterminable at some point, they were saying. And now the prosecutor is saying, okay, let's release that medical examiner's report. So they are pushing for that to come out, but I'm not sure it's going to be helpful. This strategic move by David is fascinating to me because it's really holding the prosecutor's feet to the fire.
To want the preliminary
hearing. Let's have
hearing.
a preliminary hearing. Let's let you lay out your case and we can begin to poke holes in it because everything happened so quickly. When the LAPD descended on the house, we thought, did they get out over their skis? That started the clock ticking. Did that push the prosecutors? Now we'll really get to see if that's the case because he has a right to a speedy trial. He can call for this.
Right. And so the argument we talked about on Friday, Mark Garagos had people connected to this case. He says who were saying that the DA got frustrated.
The
LAPD got frustrated with the DA because the LAPD felt once the medical examiner said it's homicide, go arrest the guy. And apparently, at least according to Garagos, the DA wasn't ready to file charges, and the LAPD just said, screw it, we're going to do it and force their hand. If that was a scenario, then calling for a preliminary hearing, could maybe show that the DA is kind of flat-footed, at least if that's...
That's right. It could have massive consequences on the DA's ability to prosecute this case effectively. If the LAPD forced their hand and now they are not ready to actually press these charges against David, calling for a 10-day preliminary hearing is really going to show whether that's the case.
The DA seemed to be responding to that story today during the news conference where he said that we, meaning the DA's office and LAPD, have been in lockstep all along and that we were working on this together.
That's all they can say at this point, though, right?
Well, we don't know.
Maybe they were.
Garagos may be right or wrong on that, but he said he had really good sources. So we will see. But forcing that is going to be really interesting. Number one, this could end up, by the way, being a televised preliminary hearing. It really depends. In California, it depends on the judge you get. But there are judges who have allowed, like, for example, O.J. Simpson, where they allow cameras in for preliminary hearings and other judges won't. So this could be a really interesting development. The other thing that is interesting is it forces the DA to play his hand. And there is a lot of tension between prosecutors and the defense, where prosecutors sometimes are slow in turning information over. By demanding a prelim, the defense gets a preview of the prosecution's case that they might not otherwise get. The other thing that I don't think anybody's really talked about in court is that what the DAs often do in situations like this is they will charge the defendant, which they did today, and then go to the grand jury and get an indictment which supersedes the charge. And the reason for that is that if you get a grand jury indictment, there's no preliminary hearing. And then the defense essentially is in the dark. So in a way, what the defense is doing is they're saying, hey, we're not going to give you the chance to do that. We're demanding a prelim right now.
Yeah, they're not going to give him a chance to clean it all up through the grand jury. They're saying, bring what you have now. You've brought a charging document. Let's see what you got.
So the DA can't now say in the next 10 days, try to get a grand jury to get. Now,
they absolutely could. Yes.
But the defense knows what that will look like now that they have demanded the preliminary
hearing.
Well,
see, what I'm thinking is they could go to the grand jury that's been hearing this case for 4 months because they're already up to speed on all the evidence.
Right.
So you don't have to present from scratch. You can kind of do a shorthand presentation because if you could get that same grand jury that was investigating this, it may be that they could blunt that, get a grand jury indictment, and then the preliminary hearing just goes out the window.
That's right, but it doesn't require them to act quickly, and they weren't ready to sort of ask the grand jury for that yet, so they got to get ready quickly either way.
Tiffany from LA. I'm super excited for the Beth versus Burke kind of matchup. It seems like both these lawyers are very aggressive. What Blair Burke did is pretty risky, setting something in the period, because there's probably so much evidence on like a terabyte or two for digital evidence on phones, in DMs and social media, that her team will have to be ready to go around the clock reviewing digital evidence. So I'm excited to see how this plays out. Or it could be that David is just unaccustomed to being in custody and didn't want to waive time.
Well, he's going to be in custody until the trial because they've alleged special circumstances, and that's where bail gets denied. So, yeah, I mean, the defense is going to get a preview of the evidence. But the other thing we should say is, even if the judge throws it out now, the judge is going to throw it out if they did that in a prelim, knowing that they can always refile because, as everybody knows,
Nathan Hochman would absolutely.
No statute of limitations on murder.
Coming up, One Direction will not be getting back together in any way, shape,
One Direction is this way.
That's the direction it's going. Zayn at some point made a comment about Louis' mom.
This is so high school.
I know. Here's the problem.
Your
with
mama
this
wears
mama
army
joke.
boots.
Yeah, the problem with this mama joke is that Louis' mother passed away in 2016, I believe, from cancer.
Be right back.
One Direction will not be getting back together in any way, shape, or
One
form.
Direction is this way.
That's the direction it's going. According to a report about what went down between Zayn Malik and Louis Tomlinson as they were filming something for a sort of a reunion that was going to be on Netflix. And at this particular, what they were filming at this point was supposed to be Zayn and Louis sort of bonding, getting back together on doing like a little road trip. But according to this report in The Sun, and there's good reason to believe this is accurate, that Zayn at some point made a comment about Louis' mom.
This is so high
I know.
school.
You hear like, oh, you did a mama joke. Well, here's the problem.
Your
with
mama
this
wears
mama
army
joke.
boots.
Yeah, the problem with this mama joke is that Louis' mother passed away in 2016, I believe, from cancer. So that didn't go well, and obviously Louis stepped to Zayn, and according to the report, Zayn then punched him right in the head.
Wait, Zayn
Yes,
made the
Zayn
comment and
correct.
then punched him?
Yes.
And
Well,
actually,
wait a minute, what's behind that? Because Zayn making
Because that makes it feel like Zayn did it to trigger him and then intended to punch him.
Zayn probably felt like he was going to get punched and wanted to swing first. But Zayn actually had on rings and caused a concussion and bleeding to Louis Tomlinson's head.
So Oasis finishes their tour and One Direction
and
gets
One
in a
Direction
fight?
can't get back together.
Netflix actually pulled the entire series. It was supposed to be 3 parts. They completely canceled it. And the director for the series, Nicola Marsh, actually posted the screenshot of the Sun story and said, there goes a year of work. So it's...
Well, there's someone from Netflix basically confirming this story is accurate.
They haven't commented when we reached out, but seemingly it had to have happened because why did they pull it?
Louis and Zayn aren't talking now.
And he doesn't follow
Was Harry Styles
Zayn
part
anymore.
of this?
No, it was just the two of them. They're going around the United States, just to like small cities, like
But was he
hopping
part
around.
of the documentary?
No, it was just them two. No, it was just them two on a road trip.
Yeah, but how do you do Liam Payne? You can't do, obviously.
Right.
And Harry Styles?
Or Niall, you're forgetting Niall.
No,
it was just them two.
But
so wait,
Harry's
Niall
the biggest
wasn't
star.
going to be part of it?
No,
I knew
it
that
was
Harry
just,
would be
it was just the two guys.
Huh.
Niall was also going on tour doing an album.
What am I missing here?
You're not missing anything. It was just these two friends going around
And they're doing
on a road
three-part
trip.
Just two of them?
I don't think you understand how excited the One Directioner fans were for this. Like, it was going to be awesome, and they were going around the United States. People were like trying to figure out where they were going in the United States to see them.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I thought
it's two friends going on a road trip.
Two of them, and that later you would have Niall come in and maybe Harry, but at the...
We didn't need that. We have enough with the both of them.
I mean, I don't want to say...
That's
I
like,
feel very bad for Louis.
That's like a Beatles retrospective with Pete Best.
No, I don't even know what that means, but you're wrong.
Well, no disrespect to the two of them.
It sounds disrespect.
Well, no. I don't
understand how you're saying no disrespect,
We're
but
just
it's
saying
filled with disrespect.
You can't call it a One Direction reunion unless you're going to bring together a majority of the remaining members.
Yes, you can.
And you're only bringing two.
No, because they were awesome guys of the group, and you wanted to see it because this was a step to getting a reunion.
What were they going to do in a road trip?
A road trip and stop around cities? Have you never been on a road trip?
So they're going on like an
I don't
Oprah Gayle
understand.
King
I
road.
don't- do
but
you
it's like
understand
an Oprah.
my confusion
well,
of
no,
what
do
you don't understand?
Like
Words
I thought they were going to
out.
sing or something. Is it an Oprah?
It's a road trip.
So Oprah and Gayle King.
Yes, but hotter.
Yes, but with singing.
Or are they going to sing?
No, maybe like when driving around, but no.
I mean, they
wasn't going
gotta
to be-
sing at some point, otherwise it's
not.
Netflix dodged a bullet.
That is
Exactly.
not true
I'm
because
saying this
everyone
does
was
not
excited.
sound like a reunion.
Dodged a bullet.
You just suck.
Hey, this is Tiara from Atlanta, and I'm just mad that Louis didn't get the opportunity to hit Zayn first. I mean, you're making comments about my mom.
Yeah.
And, you know, she died. Like, that's past the yo mama jokes. We all know in elementary school, like, don't talk about my mom. So he meant to cut him deep with that comment. And so it's just some things that you can't come back from. And, you know, it's crazy because we're in this nostalgic era and we're trying to do the reunion and you get this big opportunity with Netflix and you ruin it because you can't keep your comments to yourself. So I think they need to go back and restructure, you know, if they're even able
There's
to.
nothing to restructure. I mean, I guess you could try and get Niall and Harry now and see if they can do it without punching each other.
Wow. Which may be the win for them.
Right. No offense.
No offense.
Do you believe Cher could be a grandmother? I mean, certainly
Okay.
she's
I got
of the age.
Okay, I got the joke. Don't bait
she's-
me. I got the joke. Don't bait me.
Yes, Cher found out very late in this child's life, relatively.
Well, it's not late in the child's life.
The granddaughter is a teenager.
Okay.
And according to the story, Cher just found out a couple of years ago that she was even a grandmother. And the reason that for this delay has to do with something Cher has been dealing with for a while. That is her son, Elijah Blue's severe addiction issues. And she supposedly heard this from him, 5 years ago?
Didn't believe it.
He tried to tell her.
Didn't.
But she thought he was in the middle of
Right, an episode.
An episode. He was, high or something, and so she just didn't believe it.
Right.
Until the mother of said child came forward 3 years later and said, yes, this is true, and confirmed it. And so Cher has been a grandmother, has been living as a grandmother, and actually knows the child for now a couple of years.
And the kid is like 14 now.
Yeah.
But I just find it interesting. The mother is Katy.
Katie Edwards. I think she's Julie Andrews' relative. Yes. I just found that out right now. Yes.
But you know what's so interesting about that is
So this is a Nepo grandbaby?
Yes, it is.
But
Yeah,
I get
already,
Elijah
yeah.
Blue didn't, whether he said it or not. But you would think she would have said that to people and it would have gotten back to her. It's kind of weird to me that it took this long. Do you know what I mean?
Hold on a second.
I
This
know,
child,
right?
So you're
the
saying
Andrews thing through
this
you,
child
yeah.
is Julie Andrews
and
and
Cher,
Cher as
yes.
grandparents.
As grandparents.
Correct. Yes.
Wow.
And apparently the
That may be the biggest Nepo grandkid.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
apparently Katie just didn't tell anyone, or she at least
But
kept
that's
it a
so weird.
secret for a couple years.
But
or
that's so
10
weird because
years,
Elijah's talking about it.
That's true, yeah. I mean, apparently Elijah had been coming in and out of the kid's life every couple years when he was...
I mean, Elijah's had a lot of
some issues. Yeah, he had a couple arrests earlier this year for drug-related offenses, and in 2023...
I think they talked about a conservatorship.
Last
Cher
week,
was
Cher
trying to
filed
get
some...
one.
Yeah.
in
I mean, it's really,
2023,
really sad.
she first tried, she failed. She now, last week, she's tried again. She filed new docs to get a conservatorship over Elijah.
But you would think there'd be talk in the hills
Yeah.
about...
In the Malibu Hills?
Yeah.
No. That Malibu Hills are alive with, people talking about stuff
Wow.
like this.
And you gave me a hard time for the I believe.
Hey, I'm Hillary calling in from Miami. Look, I gotta say, Cher not knowing that she had an offspring is iconic because that is a space that's been male dominated for far too long. So I love to see women represented in that. I think that's great. I mean, her son being an addict, that's really too bad. I do think it's crazy that he was able to hide this from her for so long. Like, the only thing I've been able to successfully hide from my parents is, like, my true personality.
Don't say it.
No, it was all right.
They may be watching.
Coming up.
President Trump has gone too far invoking the name of one Frank Sinatra. He posted over the weekend a clip of Frank Sinatra performing My Way live. No explanation, no context given, but just the fact that he posted it was enough to set off Frank's daughter, Nancy Sinatra.
Be right back. TMZ's got every freaking thing. Big celebs, big stories, big events.
Phoebe Rexa was looking hot on vacation.
Look at the water, too.
Did you just say, look at the water? I mean, I'll be honest, that is what I was looking at.
TMZ.
President Trump has gone too far when he is invoking the name of one Frank Sinatra. He posted over the weekend, like, without any explanation, a clip of Frank Sinatra performing My Way live during one of his Vegas shows. And no explanation, no context given, but just the fact that he posted it was enough to set off Frank's daughter, Nancy Sinatra, who is fuming about this. In fact, she says it's sacrilege that he posted it. And I don't think that she knows why he posted it either.
I do.
But I do know that you know some people.
I know people
who
know
know a lot
people.
about My Way.
So I just talked to Paul Anka, who wrote My Way, and I wanted to find out about Donald Trump's history with My Way. So it is his favorite song. You would think it's YMCA, but no, it's My Way. And there is history here that in 2005, long before Donald Trump had presidential ambitions, that Paul had written a version of My Way about Donald Trump. And you know, he's done this with a lot of people. He's done it with Warren Buffett. He did it with Putin. I mean, he's gone all over the world and done like versions of My Way. So he did it for Trump. And
well, I need to know this. At Trump's request?
I'm assuming
Meaning,
yes.
I'm trying to find the ego in this.
I'm assuming yes.
Yeah.
But, of course.
Yeah.
But, look, I mean, maybe that's why it's his favorite song. The other part of it is when he talks about My Way, that is Donald Trump, his way. And so I think there's a lot behind
I mean,
this.
that's the one thing I thought when I saw it, is that it was this sort of leading up to the, hopefully, peace talks.
No, it's My Way's a big thing for
that
him.
it was going to be his
But
way.
He has to know, because he's so hyper aware of what is going on, what people say about him. There have been health rumors about him. And then to post, the end is near, I face the final curtain, as we're in this war. Why would he do that? There's a lot of context to that.
That's actually a really good point.
Yeah.
And if it's about the war in Iran, then he picked the wrong Sinatra. As we're getting ready to put boots on the ground, these boots are made for walking. One day they're going to walk all over you. Sorry, Nancy.
How do you think Nancy would feel about that?
She'll hate that, but if
He
he's going to
couldn't
troll,
do that because he's not saying that he's going to put boots on the ground.
Well,
however,
right
what
now.
an interesting point.
Or just even saying
that
these
the
boots
two
are
of
going to walk
them-
all over you.
Well,
That's more threatening to
That's
another
more threatening,
country.
but he doesn't want to say he's putting boots on the ground is the problem.
I guess.
As angry as she is, Nancy herself admits there's not much she can do about this. Only the publisher of the song could actually stop the president from posting.
Hey, it's Kayla from Alexandria. I love the fact that Nancy did not pass up the opportunity to embarrass Trump about this. I think it's got to be embarrassing to the ego. You have Nancy Sinatra, you've had Rihanna, you've had Beyonce, Rolling Stones, Sabrina Carpenter. So many people tell Trump that they don't want to be affiliated with him and
he
to
just
not use
uses
their
their
music.
songs, yeah.
Yeah, it has to hurt his ego because we know he cares so much about his ego. So I love that every time they have an opportunity to tell him to stop using the music, they're going to tell him.
But he likes the fact that they say it and they can't stop him. That's what he likes.
Right. Taylor Frankie Paul's ex, Dakota Mortensen, made an announcement this weekend that honestly should have come years ago. And unfortunately, it didn't. And he and Taylor have continued their extremely toxic relationship, which has led to all sorts of things, not the least of which being that she is on probation. She threw a stool that ended up hitting her daughter.
Three
stools, correct. And she lost the Bachelorette. So all sorts of consequences. But now Dakota finally realizes they need to not be together.
He says.
He says. We'll see if he holds to it. But he said, my focus now is where it should have been all along, my son, and creating a stable, healthy environment for him moving forward. I regret not stepping away from a difficult cycle sooner. I'm not perfect, and I take accountability for my part. I'm sincerely sorry to those I've hurt. Now, separately, and I believe she posted this before he posted that, Taylor posted something on her Instagram saying, I was diagnosed with PTSD about 2 years ago, which I assume is now CPTSD.
What is that?
I don't know. Someone's gonna have to look that up for me. By more than one therapist for all those that assumed diagnoses.
Now, that doesn't mean that she is
It's
kind of
compound
seeing the
PTSD,
light.
by the way.
Compound?
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean she's seeing the light and she's going to stay away from him. I hope this is true because they should not be near each other, but it remains to be seen.
And that CPTSD it's when you
Complex,
experience, so you've been through child abuse or domestic violence. The timing of them both posting is interesting. It almost is giving, they've both realized that professionally, they're not going to be able to move forward until they move on from each other, right? And we had reported early on when all this was going on that people close to them told us that this relationship was extremely toxic, but that they would always run back to each other even after these domestic violence incidents. They would run back to each other. You know, they were actively having sex after these incidents.
Well, what's interesting is that toxicity was very much part of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, right? That was a storyline that they worked in. But now, because the law has gotten involved multiple times, I think they realize you're right, that we keep this up, we're not going to get on any show.
Right, and you have to assume she is hopeful that at some point the network will decide to move forward with The Bachelorette airing. She probably wants Mormon Wives to go back on, even though people close to her have been adamant that that's not her primary focus right now, it is the kid. At some point, she's going to have to go back to making money.
Coming up. Timothée Chalamet, boy, that what seemed like was probably just a little offhand joke that he made months ago now is still opening up fresh wounds for people in Hollywood. The latest person.
Be right back.
Welcome back to TMZ Live. Timothée Chalamet, boy, that what seemed like was probably just a little offhand joke that he made months ago now is still opening up fresh wounds for people in Hollywood. The latest person.
Can I just say, calm down?
Well, here's the thing. Charlize Theron was doing an interview with New York Times for The Interview. And in a weird way, Timothy's comments came up. And she, at first, well, watch this, but she, I think, makes the best argument against what Timothy said about the ballet and about opera.
Dance is probably one of the hardest things I ever did. Dancers are superheroes. What dancers put their bodies through in complete silence.
Sorry, Timothée Chalamet.
Oh boy, I hope I run into him one day. Yeah, I feel like that was a very reckless comment on an art form, two art forms that we need to lift up constantly because yes, they do have a hard time. But in about 10 years, I think AI is going to be able to do Timothy's job, but it will not be able to replace a person on a stage dancing live. And we should on other art forms. How about we start with that?
Okay. I got something to say.
Charlize Theron, please take the floor.
Something to say.
That's fire.
That is the problem. That the left takes something and takes it to a ridiculous point.
Where did the left come into this?
It's a left.
Who made this political?
It's a left comment.
She made a point about the art.
Okay.
About the art form.
Right. Timothée Chalamet did not say he didn't like ballet. He didn't say he didn't like opera. He simply said he didn't want movies to go the way of the ballet and opera because he was factually stating something that Charlize Theron said herself, which is it is a challenged, it's a challenged industry.
Correct.
She said it.
Right.
I mean, what she's saying is we shouldn't say that because it's challenged. No, if it's true, why can't Timothée Chalamet say it? He's not saying he doesn't like ballet. He's saying it's challenged and he doesn't want movies to be
And her point is, why are you diminishing an art form that we need more than ever?
He's not diminishing it.
The funny thing is he's saying, oh, I don't want the movies to go the way of that. And she just accurately pointed out that, you know where the movies are going? Where they don't need you, Timothy.
Fine.
Where they don't need you at all.
That's fine.
But the ballerina's still going to be in work.
First of all, you can get it.
Ballerina's still going to be getting work.
That's interesting.
First of all, you can get an AI ballerina, so that's
what I'm
BS.
saying.
No, you can't.
Of course you can.
If you could replace an AI actor, you could replace.
Not live.
Okay, but they're not going to see it. And the point is, all he's saying is,
well, they will go see it when that's the only place you can get real human beings actually.
And maybe Timothy Chalamet would agree with Charlize Theron on that. That maybe actors are going to be obsolete.
Movie actors.
But the fact,
theater actors will still be.
that somebody can't make a statement of fact, which is it's challenged, is BS.
What's a fact these days?
That ballet.
What's a fact?
A fact is what Timothy Chalamet says it is.
Oh, get out of here.
Hi, I'm Carmen from Chicago, and with her background as a ballet dancer, it makes sense that Timothy's comments would strike a nerve, but at the same time, threatening him by bringing AI into the conversation is taking it a step too far. I mean, AI is already wreaking havoc on all of the arts right now, and as an actor herself, isn't she basically implying that AI is going to take her job too?
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, no, she is.
And maybe that's factual.
And that's factual.
And that's, but is she allowed to say, hold on.
Hold on a second.
Is she allowed to say that? Is she allowed, it's a statement of fact. Is she allowed to say that?
You know what? Neither of us are ballerinas.
Hey.
Is there something you wanted to say?
I was gonna say, when she says that.
Are you a ballerina?
Yeah, I have a dance degree.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I work here. But it is interesting. Clearly, it doesn't get you very far. It is when she said,
really?
In the dance world, in the dance world, divas, am I coming up here every day twirling on my toes?
We got plenty of space to dance here.
I'm gonna start doing cartwheels in the office, but I'm just saying, I think that saying that AI is going to replace actors but not ballerinas is not a fair comment, because if AI is coming for one, it's coming for all.
Okay, fine. And that's factual. But if you can say if she can say it about actors, he can say the same thing about ballerinas in opera.
AI can't replace live performances.
They'll find a way to do it.
People aren't going to go see it. They're going to watch AI movies.
Keep it up. That means there's not going to be any Broadway. How do you feel about that?
Upset.
What is that supposed to mean? What is that supposed to mean?
Happy 47th birthday to Kourtney Kardashian, and I don't begrudge her any celebration she wants to have for her birthday, except for this one, because
it starts with this little piggy.
She and her husband. We're big fans of Travis Barker. We love him, but Travis, this is too much. They actually shared that, and that's my problem. Why are we normalizing the full-on?
Why are you so triggered?
I don't have a problem with what people do in their bedrooms.
Sounds like you're kink shaming.
I don't have a problem with them doing it.
Well, then why are you so?
I have a problem with them sharing it.
Why?
Because I don't want to see 3 toes deep in his mouth.
Well, maybe somebody,
I'm not looking for that.
Maybe somebody doesn't want to see somebody making out with somebody in public, but they do that.
It was how Travis did it. So it was a birthday post, and they have a bunch of like lovey-dovey photos,
that
pictures
you're going
with
through,
the
you're
kids.
like, oh, that's
you
nice.
hit the
Happy
13th
birthday.
slide, and that's no warning out of nowhere. You see her mouth.
We put it on
her foot
I'm gonna tell
fully
you
in his
something.
mouth.
I know, but why does that bother you? God, you guys are so.
I don't.
Well, now we know what you're
into.
No, I didn't say I'm into it. It's like it doesn't trigger me.
It's just kind of gross.
Well, if it doesn't trigger you.
It's like I don't want anyone.
Why doesn't it trigger you?
Yeah.
Why does it trigger you? Why? Maybe that's the better question.
Are you a closeted foot guy?
Apparently he is.
No, people who are most against something have an obsession to do it.
That's true.
Foot guy. Foot guy.
Hi, TMZ. I'm Scarlett. I'm from California, and thank you for having me. Honestly, when I first saw this picture that they posted, I was like, really? On the internet? For free?
Yeah, there are sites you're supposed to go to for that stuff, right?
Free.
Exactly. My second thought was, where was Kris Jenner when they posted this? Like, did they run this past her? Was this approved? Because
No, Kris was taking the picture.
Kris took the picture. She's like, just one more, and then another toe went, and she meant, no, I just meant one more photo, not another toe.
Coming up.
FBI Director Kash Patel is doing something that his boss has done. Sue everybody. Very upset about a story that ran in the Atlantic magazine. Basically said that Kash Patel's drinking is out of control and that it's causing problems within the Bureau.
Be right back.
FBI Director Kash Patel is doing something that his boss has done. Sue everybody. Kash Patel, very upset about a story that ran in the Atlantic magazine. did a report that basically said that Kash Patel's drinking is out of control and that it's causing problems within the Bureau.
That they're saying that he would push meetings to the afternoon because he couldn't really do them in the morning because of excessive drinking. They're basically doing this story saying that there is an alarm at FBI that he has a huge drinking problem. So the article says.
Right. Well, Kash Patel says that is an out-and-out lie, and that they published that story because they had malice against him. He says that they've been saying all sorts of things that make it clear that they just don't like him and maybe don't like the administration, and he thinks that's what this story is really about.
Well, it's two elements. He does have to prove malice, but also, if it's true, truth is a defense.
Right.
So he has to prove that it's false and that there's malice.
Which is what makes these defamation cases so difficult.
I mean, it's undeniable that The Atlantic does not like Kash Patel. They do not like Donald Trump.
I think you're right.
Liberal.
Right. You're right.
But that doesn't mean that the story's not factually correct.
They're saying
right?
that they have multiple sources in this.
They say 19 people I think they talked to, and they asked dozens of questions.
And they're standing by the
Cash's
story.
statement was like, hey, go print it. We'll see you in court and bring your checkbook.
So he's hired a lawyer, we checked, and it is a lawyer that is Donald Trump's go-to. So unclear, I was interested, who's paying for the lawyer? Now, a lot of times, case like this, it's a contingency fee, but so it may be
certainly
that nobody...
It's one of the president's lawyers that he's used, I'm sure. He made a call, right, and says, do this for Kash.
Is that not potentially...
Kash Patel, that is.
Is there not something in there that the story says that his job could potentially be on the line? If he's using Donald Trump's lawyer and Donald Trump's go-to guy, does that not indicate that he is kind of in tight?
That's really interesting.
Thanks.
It may mean that his job is not...
No, I just thought you were saying I made an interesting point. So
you did, but I didn't know you were that thirsty to
I am.
jump.
Believe me, I am.
Okay.
You were saying.
No, I'm just
No, I'm sorry to interrupt you, sir. Go
on. Every weekend we put polls up on the website to find out how you feel about things we posted last week. We did that this weekend, and here are the results.
All right. David's arrest. DA's got the goods, or he's going to skate. They're going to say got the goods, right? Because that's when someone's arrested, everyone just
they assume, it. And we will see. Ice Spice brawling in McDonald's. I should chill, or fan had it coming. Oh, I think it's going to be.
Wow.
I'm actually surprised at that because that woman went after her.
The woman did come in and get in her face, waved her hand in her face, but she didn't touch her, so. Dicier after midnight. McDonald's or Waffle House?
Okay, they got it.
I've had experience at both. They got it right.
Yeah.
Yes, they definitely got it right.
Alex Cooper versus Alex Earl. Call Cooper daddy, or I'm dancing with Earl.
In other words,
I got
Team
it.
Cooper, Team Earl. Which way are you going?
Oh, pretty close.
Wow.
One more.
That's why people care about this. All right, who you got? The Prez or the Pope?
It's going to be 64 to 30 something.
No, it's not going to be that what?
Wow!
What? I don't get.
Well, no, because there are MAGA people who are really religious, and they're going to pick the Pope over the Prez. I think that's it.
But if you're really MAGA, you would pick the Prez over the Pope.
No.
I would argue.
No, I think a lot of people would be afraid to pick the Prez over the Pope because they believe the Pope.
If Trump were in the room, they would pick the Prez.
They believe the Pope can pull strings.
Coming up.
Time is not on Katy Perry's side. You remember last week, Ruby Rose made the allegation that Katy had sexually assaulted her in a nightclub. There is no statute of limitations on sexual assault in Australia. So if the police find evidence, they could charge Katy Perry.
Be right back.
Time is not on Katy Perry's side. You remember last week, Ruby Rose made the allegation that Katy had sexually assaulted her in a nightclub in Australia back in 2010. Now, when you heard that, you might have thought, well, 16 years, come on, there's no way that this is still something that she could be charged for. It is. And we told you that police had already launched this investigation, but there is no statute of limitations on sexual assault in Australia. So if the police find evidence and witnesses, which we acknowledge was probably going to be a little difficult, but if they do, they could charge Katy Perry with sexual assault.
We don't know what the merits are in terms of what Ruby's alleging and what Katy is saying, but they say they're investigating it.
Yeah. So we will see. I just think there's not going to be video, because even if there were surveillance video, that would have been wiped away by
within a week.
Right.
Yeah.
So we will see.
Hi, I'm Jayla calling from New York City. And yeah, I agree. I think this is going to be an interesting investigation. And I just really feel for Ruby. I know that she struggled with a lot publicly. And I would just really hate for this to be a boy who cried wolf scenario where, because she's been involved in so many scandals and allegations in the past, people are more likely to distrust what she's saying now, even if it's true. So I just hope the truth comes out eventually.
Yeah, again, 16 years, it's going to be a tough one
to investigate.
What else you guys want to talk about?
Hi, my name is Kamar from Atlanta, and this D4VD story, I mean, the musician, I have a lot of thoughts. So social media is really talking about how is this underage girl, how she was able to really have a relationship and her parents allowed it with this guy. But now on the flip side, I mean, based on what the police are reporting, there is no excuse on what has happened. I really just want to know how much time he could serve and then what repercussions are for her parents.
Well, with special circumstances, it's either going to be life without parole if he's convicted or the death penalty.
Right.
One more.
Hi, Casey from Kentucky. Yeah, I think there's a serious problem with violence in America, especially when we've seen in the past couple years where it's really hard to just walk in major cities without really having anything happen to you. In Ruby Rose's case, I'm not really too familiar with that, but I would have to say it really does speak to a systemic level of how it's really hard to, one, actually give people justice, and two, catch people that are committing these crimes.
Yeah.
I'm very distracted by your background.
Me too.
I was like,
Yeah,
wait,
me too.
I thought, is he having an earthquake?
Earthquake.
What's going
I know,
on?
that's
I realized,
that's exactly what.
it's
We're moving a little bit.
Backdrop. Okay, all right.
It's not real.
No, not real.
Coming up.
This is a big week for Michael Jackson fans. The biopic finally comes out on Friday, and the young man who is playing Michael's nephew, Jafar Jackson, ran into someone this weekend that actually might have helped if he had seen him a couple years ago.
Be right back.
Well, this is a big week for Michael Jackson fans. The biopic finally comes out on Friday, and the young man who is playing Michael's nephew, Jafar Jackson, ran into someone this weekend that actually might have helped if he had seen him a couple years ago. A famous Michael Jackson impersonator. This was at the AFI Lifetime Achievement Awards, and Jafar was there, and then there's this impersonator.
He's pretty good.
Who looked, when the camera pans over,
that
you
looked
kind of go like, wait, is this an AI Michael Jackson?
He looks very much like Michael.
Not as much there, but kind of.
He's got the look. He's got the chisel. He's got the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Can I tell you something? You're going to make fun of me.
MJ looks maxing right there.
I took a walk on the beach yesterday, and I was listening to I'll Be There. I know. And I was listening to I'll Be There, and they were so good. I mean, they were just... No, I mean...
Newsflash, the Jackson 5 were pretty good.
No, but it's like when you listen to that music and you go way back.
You know what's really interesting? I was digging through my vinyl crates yesterday, and I played the Jacksons' Victory album. The last album, the album they were making when he
got
had the Pepsi
accident.
Yes.
Wow.
That album was not as good as their early stuff.
I just love their early stuff. Anyway, we'll see you tomorrow.
All right.